You know that you need to activate your glutes, but you don't really have any extra time to do it. If you would like to learn 3 super easy ways to be activating your glutes every day without having to find any extra time in your schedule, this video is for you. Hi, I'm Catherine, principal therapist and founder at Layton Sports Massage, and I'm sharing in these videos to help you get as close to pain-free as possible with as little effort as possible. So if you're not sure what glute activation means, make sure you go back to our other video, which is what is glute activation, so that you familiarize yourself with what I'm talking about. But basically, our glutes don't do the job that they're supposed to do on a day-to-day basis, so we have to reconnect with them or wake them up or get them to start working. If your glutes aren't firing, it can lead to hamstring problems, knee pain, Achilles problems, fasciitis, and lower back pain. But you can't just work on your glutes when you're exercising and then forget about them the rest of the time. The main issue is if you're not getting your glutes to work, your body's going to the other muscles more regularly, and we want your brain to use your glutes all the time in your day-to-day life. So in this video, we're going to talk about 3 different things that you can do every day that don't take you any extra time, that is going to make it easier for you to use your glutes, to activate your glutes. Now, there are 2 benefits to following these 3 tips. Number 1 is obvious. You don't have to find any extra time in your day to be getting your glutes working for you. But number 2 is that it will actually be easier for you to wake your glutes up when you go and do the activity that you need your glutes to be working for, whether it's running, cycling, swimming, gymnastics, parkour. All of these things use glutes. So when you're doing it on a day-to-day basis, it's not such a stretch for your brain to go, oh yeah, I'm supposed to use my glutes in all of these movements. Now this first one, which is wake up your glutes in the morning, you're doing a knee lift exercise, which is the first exercise we give everyone for glute activation, is probably the most kind of finding time for it. But there are 2 times in the morning that most people have that you can use, do this exercise. So I recommend to clients that you either do this while you're brushing your teeth, because it will take about 15 to 20 seconds, and you should be brushing your teeth for at least 2 minutes in the morning. Or while you're waiting for the kettle to boil, while you're making tea or coffee, if you have that in the morning. Otherwise, you can skip this some mornings if you need to. This is a great one because it starts to get your brain connecting to your glutes. So there's a picture here of a woman standing kind of on one leg. And that's basically what you want to do, except you'll probably be in your pajamas and you want to be facing a wall. So you face the wall, you hold onto the wall, and you lift one knee. And when you're lifting the knee, standing leg activates. So you want to feel that the glute is contracting, which is like getting hard when you try to squeeze it. If it's not, sometimes tapping like this will make it easier for it to wake up. So you just do that like 10 times on each side. It literally should take like 7 to 10 seconds to do it. Just feel that the standing leg, the glute, is working. Just to recap one, when you wake up in the morning, when you're brushing your teeth or making your breakfast or waiting for the kettle to boil, put your hands against the wall for balance, or on the counter if you're in the kitchen or the bathroom. Lift one leg, and the standing leg, you should feel your glute switching on to keep your hips in alignment. Make sure that you don't lean way far over to one side or let your hips go over to one side. Try to keep your hips level, and your hip bones, try to keep even so that one doesn't fall. Because what will happen sometimes is you lift up the knee and the hip falls, and that's your glutes not working. That's number 1. By the way, if you would like to have a written version of this, there's also a post on my website that goes through this written, so you can read it if you would like to read through the instructions instead of watching the video. Let me know if that's clear for the glute activation for the knee lift. If not, I can add it in the comments, or I can do another video about it. Number 2, use your glutes when you stand up and sit down. Now, this is something we do all the time in our day, so it should be very easy for you to do this. Now, what happens a lot of times when people stand up is that they'll lean forward and like pull themselves up out of the chair. If you're somewhere that you can do this and it doesn't look too conspicuous, try standing up right now and see how far forward you have to lean before you can stand up. And we do that because the glutes aren't kicking in to push us up out of the chair. Now, you do have to lean forward somewhat. You can't just keep your shoulders over your hips and go up, which is something I used to think when I first learned about glute activation. It's not true. But what you can do is if you try to make sure that your shoulders don't go past your knees when you're standing up, squeeze your butt cheek, so like contract the glutes in your mind and then try to use them to push yourself up out of the chair. It's okay if you don't get it right every single time. Luckily, most of us stand up and down a few times during the day. But whenever possible, try to stand up using your glutes. And then when you sit down, let your hips go out behind you. So you're trying to not let your knees go forward of your feet. And sit down, lowering yourself slowly, using your glutes to stop yourself from sitting down so quickly. So by doing that, by contracting your glutes to push you up when you're sitting to standing, and using your glutes to lower you down on the chair when you're sitting down from standing, you will be using your glutes on a day-to-day basis, and that will help. You can also look at having your feet hip-width apart so that your knees can stay in alignment with your hips and your feet. Does that make sense? Let me know in the comments. If you have any questions, let me know. Try it a couple of times and play with it. It will feel really weird at first when you're trying to sit down without letting your knees go too far forward because your glutes aren't used to being involved in this movement. So let me know how it feels in the comments once you've given this a go. Number 3, going up and down stairs. Now, this may be the kind of most complicated one to kind of get your head around when you're first doing it. When we go upstairs, usually we're pulling ourselves up using our quads. So we put our foot up on the stair and then we kind of use our leg to pull ourselves up. But what you want to do if you're trying to get your glutes to activate is use your glute. So let's say that you're walking up the stairs and these are your feet, and you go one step. The foot that's up higher, what you want to do is use your glute, contract your glute, and imagine that your hip is pushing up over your leg. It's a slightly different feeling than pulling yourself up. It's pushing yourself up. And when you're watching this, it might not make a lot of sense, but you will find that when you actually do it, you can probably start to feel the difference. Again, it also helps if you can contract your glutes. You kind of squeeze it before you push yourself up, and you'll start to feel that it's your hips coming up over your feet instead of your front leg pulling you up. Now, this is especially good if you get knee pain on the stairs. The reason that we get knee pain on the stairs is because, there's a lot of reasons, but one of the main reasons that it hurts is because your quads are tensing to straighten your leg to push you up onto the next stair. The more that you can use your glutes, less you're using your knee, and the easier it is going to be for you to get up over it without having knee pain. So just to recap that one, when you put your foot on the next step up, try to put your knee under your ankle. Put your ankle under your knee and in line with your hip. So one of the things that people do is if this is where your hips are, they'll put their foot in the middle of where the hips are. And then you have this kind of weird alignment. So try to put your foot up in alignment with your hip. Your knee is directly over your foot, and then squeeze your glute on the foot that's on the upper stair, and then push yourself up onto it. Now again, if any of these are confusing, we're happy to go through them with you in a session. And again, there's a blog post on the website. I'll link to it in the description. If you'd prefer to read through the instructions, you can. Now here's your challenge. I want you to start doing one of these straight away. If you can't remember, you can put a rubber band on your wrist. So when you see it, you remember when you're standing up and sitting down, or when you see it going up and downstairs, you remember. We also have these little remember bands that we will give you in a session for free to help remind you to do it, because at first it's going to feel really weird. As you do it more and more, it will become more and more normal for you. As I mentioned before, if you want more information about glute activation or how to test if your glutes are activating, this is the third in the glute activation series. So I'll put links to both below, and at the end of the video, you can watch. Now, if you found this video helpful, please subscribe so that you can be notified as we have more, and leave a like because that helps more people to see it. Leave me a comment below and let me know if you try any of these, how you feel, if you run into any trouble. I'm happy to clarify more to anybody who leaves a comment. And of course, if you know anyone who struggles with any sort of knee pain, hamstring problems, or if they're a runner or a cyclist, they probably need help with their glute activation, so please share this video with them. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.